Neither one of those. I choose fall. I hate the one that's too cold. I hate the summer that's too hot. But fall, yeah.
I don't know whether that was going anywhere, but we need to put it in there, so.
All right, we'll go ahead and call our February meeting to order. John, will you give us a word of prayer, please?
I will. Y'all please pray with me. Dear Lord, we thank you for the beautiful day you sent us today, Lord, and we thank you for this organization that you blessed us with. Lord, we ask for just a little bit of your wisdom this afternoon as we talk about these matters important to this organization, and we ask that our deliberations are pleasing in your sight. In his name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Everybody will, any corrections or additions to the minutes from the January 12th meeting? If not, do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Okay. All in favor, raise your right hand. Keith, are you doing the divisional reports?
Yes, sir. In the administrative division, there's a new poll attachment agreement with Charter that's been reached, and it's being finalized with Frontier and PRTC. The admin team hosted a Chick-fil-A Leader Academy from Lawrence District High School, and a brief presentation was made on smart meters and AI and how that helps utilities. All the FEMA projects, including the two outstanding large projects that was mentioned last month, have now been obligated. The finance team is gearing up for the annual financial audit, and I can verify that because they've started asking me for information. Nathan Bell from the Lawrence Academy has joined the wastewater plant through the South Carolina Rural Water Association apprenticeship program. This program is funded to encourage high school students to pursue careers in water and sewer. Nixon Power came and made, in the electric department, Nixon Power came and made some repairs on Friday, and we're going to check the generator again this week to see if the oil leak's been repaired. Electric City's held a safety meeting in January that addressed job briefings, and also the trainer covered the apprenticeship program with Luke Pullen and Todd Douglas, which are the lineman trainees that we have. One of the meter banks at Pine Haven Towns has been energized after a repair was done when the electric contractor damaged the secondary conduit. And during the first winter storm in the natural gas department, the regulator station on Highway 76 and Wilsontown Road had to be repaired, and they were able to restore the service quickly by using a temporary regulator to bypass the station. Then a boring company, the week after the winter storm, hit the 8-inch high-pressure line on Highway 14 in front of the Fox Bank subdivision in Gray Court. We went up there and looked at it. It wasn't leaking, so they went back the next morning. It was starting to get dark then. It was right at the end of the day when they hit it. And there were a number of grooves in the bottom of the pipe, and they were about 3/64 of an inch deep, and they were about 32 inches in length of the pipe that was damaged, that had grooves in it. And that was repaired by a couple of our guys that welded a sleeve onto it to make sure that there wasn't any weak spots left from those grooves being cut in there.
270 pounds of pressure on that pipe too, so. If they
What did they hit it with?
boring
machine?
It was the back reamer on their boring machine, and they had a small boring machine. If it had been a big one like the one we have or that most of these contractors use, it would have probably tore the bottom of the pipe out. But that smaller one, it just got bound up in there and stopped. So
it would have tore the bottom of the pipe out and left a great big hole there where everybody was working.
that was what I said when I got up there. I said, well, I guess it's not leaking because I didn't see a big plume of smoke or anything stuff laying around here, debris and all. So it could have been really bad.
That's that same area that the highway department hit Clemens gas line and busted it with 425 pounds of pressure on it.
Yeah, theirs is a transmission line. Ours is considered distribution, although it's still high pressure. During the second winter storm, there was a customer up on West Main that called and said they thought they smelled gas in one of the front rooms of their house where one of the heating units was. So the person that was on call went out to check on it, couldn't get anybody to the door. We didn't know if, they were gone or they'd been overcome by the gas or whatever. So when there's a call like that comes in for a gas leak inside the house, if we can't check for the leak, then we have to turn the natural gas off. So with it being as cold as it was that Saturday, we were concerned with that, and several people called, tried to get them. And finally, we called the fire department. They went out, and the neighbor told the fire chief that the people were gone walking up the street, so he went and found them, and so he talked to him about that, about calling in a leak and then just leaving or whatever. So we finally did get the gas turned back on. They called back to standby and got it turned back on, so that got resolved okay. Then also during that storm, or after that storm, there was a car that ran off the road in Waterloo on River Fort Road and ran over to the regulator station down there and knocked out a couple of roads, the service on a couple of roads down there for customers. And they were able to rebuild it and get it put back together. The gas contractors continuing to work on the grant project, the pipeline replacement. The annual leak survey of inactive service lines started last month, and also the leak survey for the business district. A 1,500-foot natural gas mainline extension was installed for Buckingham Court. In the Water and Sewer Division, the bowl for the water tank on Dean Drive was lifted into place last Saturday. The water line crews finished building the 20-inch water line to the new tank. And the second phase of the Little River Rehab Project will be advertised this month, coming up maybe this week.
I've got some photos and a little video showing the tank raising if y'all would like to see it. It's not very long. Have y'all seen the?
I saw the new tank, but I didn't get to see it being raised.
Yeah. Y'all want to see it?
Did you go?
I did see it on Facebook.
We stayed behind.
There's no audio, just video here. As you come up, you can see the workers inside the bowl there. Kind of give you a little bit of scale for how big the inside of the tank is.
That's 1 million gallons.
1 million gallons, yeah. We estimate that when it's filled with water, the whole assembly will weigh over 10 million pounds. How many tons did we say that was? About 5,000 tons?
10 million pounds, yeah, be 5,000 tons, yeah.
It's got a pretty good foundation under it, so it should be okay.
Good.
It's bedrock, don't settle.
Yeah, we had, I don't know, what would y'all guess? 25 people out there in the Big Air parking lot. Well, Judith was out there. Wouldn't you say 25 folks or so?
You actually counted them up and it was about that.
Yeah, watching it. It was a slow process, but it was kind of interesting. Did you watch it from your house?
No, we watched it from the parking lot.
Oh, you were over there? I didn't see
We were
you.
in the back.
Oh, you were in the corner there with us.
About 1:30.
Is that, you weren't allowed to come up before we were.
I didn't see them.
They've still got to obviously weld the top on it. It's not gonna be like the Petticoat Junction water tank.
We're not just gonna accept rainwater.
Yeah. But, we're anticipating, sometime this spring, maybe early summer, everything will be finished and wrapped up. And, we said we'd probably do some kind of ribbon cutting or dedication or something on the tank site whenever we do that, so.
You heard anything from the school about how it looks?
Obviously, well, the superintendent and the chairman of the school board were there, along with a bunch of other schools, and they love it. They absolutely love it, so. And as you recall, when we do these tanks, they have a tank of the year contest, and we already told them we're gonna need the students' help because you have to send in, a vote via the email, via the website. And, but you can vote as many times as you want to, so it's all kind of a competition. So they said, we'll make sure the students vote early and often. All right.
Any other questions on the, report?
Blake, financials.
First of all, I did put the FEMA update PDF in your folders there. Just wanted to share that all of our current large outstanding projects were obligated, so the only thing we did submit to Cat Z last week, and that is the administrative cost for employees here and our public assistant consultants. So FEMA's kind of pushing to get that through, so we feel like it'll be obligated as well pretty soon. But we're real close to getting the money in and being able to close this thing out. So
You say so far we've got just over $1 million back?
yeah, 1.3 million out of 4.6. That's
A little ways to go.
yeah, but it's in process, so that's a good sign. I did ask, actually, these are, of course, our December 31 financials that are unaudited, so to go ahead and, so we're not waiting a couple months to get a financial update. Just a few things of interest. On page 5, our total net income for the year was almost $11.8 million, but it's a very unusual year where $9.9 million of that was grant income. That's probably, I won't say probably, I'm sure that's a record for CPW for grant income received in a financial year. For the month of December, the total gain was $1.6 million. The electric division was 198,320, gas 735, 159, water 731, 958, and sewer 11,641. So every division was in the black.
Which ones? I'm assuming, obviously, water's got grant money in it.
Yeah, you'll never see water. I mean,
That's a new method.
Yeah.
Any of the other line items, gas, is there grant money in that gas money?
For the month of December, gas, that's gonna be on page 8. No, we did not receive any for the month of December.
They did for the year.
Yeah, year to date in gas, we got $194,000. And the electric division was a little over $2 million, and the water division was $7.5 million grant income. So, as I mentioned before, the budget year to date, we're going to be over budget. One, the price of gas, the storm restoration charges that were recurring, but that's basically a wash. As we receive the FEMA reimbursements, we'll have several $1 million to book this year for grant income for FEMA. But I think we finished right at 10% over budget year to date. No concerns there. Projects are moving right along. The capital asset budget. We're basically down to the retainage on the water line project, which is 1309. Getting real close. I submitted a request for payment today for the SCIP grant, and we're down to right at $1 million left out of 10.5 to request. So we're getting ready to start dipping into our bond proceeds to finish that project out. But that's good because if you remember, we had to spend all the money before June 30th of this year. So, but I'll be glad to, of course, Love Bailey audit team will be here in March to start working on our audit. And of course, this year will be a little more intensive with the single audit for all of the federal dollars that we receive that we're required to do. Like you said, we're already sending them a bunch of information, so everything will be ready for them when they get here. That's all I have. Anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
At Lake Raven, I know we were working on some of our pumps out there, some of them were being rebuilt.
Yep.
We still,
Will said today that they should be ready in the next couple of weeks. They'll be bringing those down and getting them aligned and getting everything going. So they're real close. They're still in North Carolina.
And it'll be
we
good
just
to have everything
we
back.
just have a backup generator pump out there in case the one that's working goes.
We've got a backup, but
We got a generator for the electric pumps, and then we got diesel pump that's back up to that.
And the price to rebuild them is much better than we initially anticipated. That's also a good thing.
they've been in service a long time, so.
When you rebuild a pump, what do you, the impellers are, what do you?
It had actually worn into the housing and all, so they're actually rebuilding part of that housing and everything.
Okay.
Will had said, we really need to send them off ever so often and let them go through them before they get wore like they were.
So we need to practice better preventative maintenance, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
And the company that's doing it says, those are solid, they're old, but they're solid. The new ones won't last like those will be taken care of. Yeah.
any word on our, engineering for our poles for the, going to the substation?
Asked you about it today?
And he said that he's expecting to have the design and engineering and all back within the next week or two. And then he'll put them out for bid.
I think we could have gone to the moon for I think we've been talking about that since September.
We asked him, why is it so hard? I mean, there ought to be a computer program or something that you put all the data in.
Yeah.
He said, no, he said it's a very detailed thing, and they have to go through all these specs, and, you know, PMPA is paying extra to expedite it even.
Ooh, I hate slow train to China.
Does it have to be like approved, like the engineering on it has to be approved by a regulator or anything?
No, it just has to have, you know, Bob's a PE, it just has to have an engineering stamp on it. It actually will belong to PMPA, it won't belong to us, so if there's any kind of, you know, certifications or anything that we have to deal with. So. But I'm not aware of any approvals or anything like that. Other than Duke, I mean, obviously we had to go through Duke. And
They got it, it's okay, right?
you know, they've been involved since day one on the whole project, so.
Who has the line that goes from like the ridge towards town? I don't know all the street names, but they've had poles laying on the ground for a couple months. It's a transmission line. Is that?
Whenever they rebuilt all that over in there?
They've got metal poles laying on the ground?
Yeah.
That's a Duke transmission
Yeah,
line.
it's been in there for a while.
Yeah. I saw those.
I think Duke got, that, rescue bill under the Biden administration. They got so many, I can't tell you, but a ton of money to improve their grid system.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I don't know if it was multi-millions or billions or what. It was a lot of money though. Cause Theo Lane was telling me about it about a year or so ago, how much money they got. It was astronomical.
As widespread as Duke's system is, it would probably have to be in the billions.
I think it was. It was a huge amount of money. So when you see all these projects of them replacing poles everywhere, it's our tax dollars.
And that's probably one of the reasons why this is taking so long, ordering stuff, because all the other big contracts out there.
Right, exactly. So, any more questions for Blake on the December financials?
The right of ways on the new water line to the tank, has all that been settled?
It has, yes, sir. Well,
Except for the condemnation.
yeah. The property owner at the, what's the name of that shopping center?
Western Square.
Western Square Shopping Center, you know, they drug their feet for so long, we just finally, you know, we condemned that right of way for in there. I probably ought to be doing this executive session, so, but anyway, you know, we agreed on a price, and, you know, that price was paid, and then the property owner has come back and said, well, we think we need a little bit more. And so we've got an attorney looking into that, but the estimate that we gave them was, we had appraisals and several appraisals, and, you know, I think it was a very generous offer what we made, but obviously they see dollar signs and want to try to get a little more, so.
So they accept the offer, they ask for more?
They didn't. What you have to do is, they don't accept the offer. You have to put up a deposit with the court, and it just sits there until it's settled. So we'll have like a mediation or something, probably at some point.
but the attorney that helped us with the condemnation process is, he seems to think that the offer's good. I mean, at the very least, it would be a little bit more money, but not a whole lot.
Right. Do those things ever go to a jury trial, or they're just always settled in mediation?
So usually they go to mediation or settled. The ones I've been involved with.
Okay, any other questions? Not, do I have an approval to approve the December financials? Second, all in favor, raise your right hand. I don't believe we have any public tonight.
Maybe next month, though.
Maybe next month. Our bills go out. Next on is our 2026 Public Power Scholarship winner.
Yes, I'm pleased to announce that a Miss Mary Ellis Power of, let's see, she is a senior, is that right, Blake? Yes. At Lawrence District High School. And the contest was to write an essay on why public power is important. And she wrote a very, very good essay. I brought a copy if anybody wants to read it. We, at the Chamber annual dinner last week, we presented her with a check of $2,500 toward her further education, which I understand she is going to the University of South Carolina.
Can we take the money back?
Pretty smart getting in down there.
That's right. And so,
Professor.
Yeah, right.
just to remind you, PMPA contributes half of that, and the CPW kicks in the other half. So we got very good response this year from the high school. When we started this, I don't know if y'all recall or not, but we had to beg students to write an essay. But we had maybe 5 or 6 this year, and they were all really good, and it was very difficult to pick, so.
Who picked from y'all?
Yeah, we had a group in the office to read them and rank them, so to speak, so. Anyway, and then Clinton did the exact same thing. They got money from PMPA and they matched it for the same amount, and they picked someone that went to District 56 high school over there, so. And they were both, I don't know if you follow that on Facebook or anything, but, we had pictures of that. Well, you were there. Anyway, I just wanted to, I'll give you any more details you want later.
Okay, and now we have our winter weather update.
Well, as you might remember, we had a little cold weather. Back last couple of weeks. And so in anticipation of customers, receiving those bills and maybe have some concerns over that, I'd like to do a little presentation on that. And, I looked back and I did something very similar to this last winter, and so I kind of polished it up and updated it a little bit, but it's basically the same thing. But I just wanted to remind everybody that the headline for the National Weather Service on January 29th was warning of a bomb cyclone winter storm headed for the southeast, mainly North and South Carolina. And this was right after we had the big almost ice storm situation. So the weather was pretty nasty, and Governor McMaster extended the state of emergency for the whole state on through January 29th. And this was from weather.gov, extreme cold weather warning. And as you can see, the whole county was enveloped into that into that warning there. So, you know, and what'll happen is, you know, it's going to be 70 degrees tomorrow, and whenever they receive the bill, it's going to be 70 degrees, and they're going, well, that's not that cold. Why's my bill so high? But it's just kind of the nature of the way people are. But this is a little temperature chart that we get every month, and it shows the darker days are the colder days, and then the lighter days are the warmer days. And as you can see, the ones that are in black there are the coldest, and that's where the low temperature was below 25 degrees. And then a little bit darker is between 26 and 32 degrees. And then the blue one is 33 to 39 degrees. So you can see the temperature was very cold for most of December, and even colder for the month of January. You know, we had, I think the low was 13 degrees on the 27th, 18 degrees on the last day of January. So, you know, it was pretty cold. On top of that, you know, we have to purchase our gas on a daily basis, and there was a spike in the price of natural gas that occurred in January, and you can see here. And then this is how natural gas is purchased based on what they call the Henry Hub down in Louisiana, right? Louisiana?
Yeah, I think it is.
And so this is the price that every gas company in the nation pays for the natural gas coming out of that. It's based on the price of the Henry Hub. So you can see how it fluctuates, and that's on a daily basis. So that kind of factored into some of this too. So the question is, what does that have to do with my CPW bill? And, you know, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but, you know, I sort of anticipated maybe a customer or two here, and I may do this again next month. But as the temperature drops, your heating system will run for longer periods of time, depending on how efficient your house is, what you set your thermostats at. And when the temperature is below 40 degrees, there's a good chance that your heating system will run all day, for days maybe. Also, water heaters, the third highest energy user in your house, will operate much longer because of the ambient temperature around that water heater, and the temperature of the water going in the water heater is colder. And then, of course, more time spent indoors. I'm told that there was a record number of snow days for District 55 where, you know, kids are home all day. I guess parents have to stay home with them, so there's more people there. And so, you know, that contributes to the energy usage. And then we're seeing a lot of people that use space heaters and electric blankets during this time. But if you use a standard, just one electric space heater all day, it's about $4.68 to operate that space heater. You know, we've had customers call and say they just turn their thermostat off and get a bunch of space heaters and put them around. Well, you know, if you just operate one like that for a whole month, that's $140 on top of everything else. So that's not a very good way to do that, but anyway. So what can the average customer do about higher usage and colder weather? The easiest and the quickest and the most savings is to make sure all your windows and doors and any other penetrations around the house are sealed up. Make sure the house is well insulated. You know, if your house was built before probably 1980, chances are it doesn't have anywhere near these levels here. R38 of blown insulation is about that much insulation. And I almost bet you if it was built before 1980, it doesn't have that much insulation in it. But a new house, that's what's required now. And also the floors, the walls, and the ductwork should be properly insulated. And then we recommend having your heating system inspected. Some people say once a year, once every other year, but it's important to have a technician go through, make sure everything's clean, the coils are cleaned, and everything's operating like it's supposed to. And then y'all have probably seen this before, but it's just a little chart showing the The recommended temperature setting is 68 degrees, and for every degree lower, you can save around 5% of your heating cost. And then transversely, 5% more if you keep it higher, for every degree higher than that. And what this little chart's showing you to the left here is 68 is the recommended temperature. But if you say that's too cold, I want it at 75, you're going to spend about 50% more than if you'd have left it at 68. So that's the customer's choice. We can't tell them what to set the thermostat at. We're just trying to explain to them, you know, if you want it warmer, you're going to pay more. So, and then if you've got an electric heat pump, it's best just to set it at one temperature and forget it. If you start raising and lowering the thermometer, the thermostat on an electric heat pump, depending on how it's set up, but most of the time it has auxiliary electric heat that when you lower and then raise it up, it'll kick those heat strips on to get to the right temperature, and that really makes the meter spin. That's just like a big, huge electric heater in there to get the temperature up to what that thermostat's set at. So, what's the CPW doing to help customers during this time? We will work with customers, allowing a little bit of extra time as long as they contact us before the due date on the bill. You know, we can't promise everybody, but you know, in certain circumstances, we can help folks. Another thing that we're really pushing hard is the budget billing. Y'all all know how budget billing works. It takes your last 12 months and averages it out, and you pay the same amount every month. So a lot of people don't like that because in the shoulder months when their bill is low, they don't like paying the high bill to even it out. But that's a good option, you know, for people that are having budget issues. And then, of course, we got lots of tips and things like that on the website. And then just to remind everybody, you know, we contributed and our customers contributed about $2,700 last year for a total of about $5,500 that the Baptist Crisis Center distributes to needy families and that kind of thing. But the bad news is that, from what I understand, there's more cold weather on the way. So,
That's what the groundhog said.
That's what the groundhog says. I should have had a picture of the groundhog up here. Anyway, any questions about any of that? I gave a copy to Jude. Maybe she'll put a little something. Some of that.
What's the price of gas per 100 cubic feet now?
I don't know off the top of my head, do you?
$1.98.
You hear that? $1.98?
You put $1 and a dime, 15 cents.
Yep. But we're very much anticipating a lot of customer calls and concerns about this, so I'm just giving y'all a heads up. I don't know if somebody might corner you in the grocery store or something, I don't know. Anyway, that's all I have for that, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Do I have a motion? We go into executive session. Second. All in favor, raise your right hand.
We do not anticipate anything after executive session.